on, family? It's your boy, Javen Lawrence Moore, back again with another episode of No Cap. As you see, we are in person. Excited to be back. Excited to be back with my guest, Mr. M. Washington. Brother,
What's
go
going
ahead,
on?
introduce yourself. Tell them a little bit about you.
So my name is M. Washington. I am a senior music major at Morehouse College. I am a part of the Morehouse College Glee Club. I also work with the Spriggsboro's theater department, as well as the Martin Luther King Chapel International, the Chapel Choir, as well as the Chapel Arts department as well.
Come on.
So a couple other sporadic things around campus, but pretty involved in the creative scene.
Come on, resume. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right, man. First of all, brother, thank you for agreeing to be on the show, man.
Yes, sir.
Now, I told my folks we don't have the heavy hitters this season, and we're about to deliver, okay? Yeah. So this episode, we're going to talk about the treatments of black women.
Ooh, you heavy hitting for real.
The treatment of black women. Now, yeah, all of that, yeah, for sure. Now, I don't even think it's an argument. I don't even think it's a debate that we know that black women are the most mistreated, the most disenfranchised, the most disrespected people in our society, in our world. I can speak specifically to the American society because we know we're in America, but if we speaking globally, it's just a fact. Now, and we also know that without black women, there will be no life, literally. There will be no life. There will be no buildings. There will be no anything in this world without black women. And not only is that because we all came from a black woman, and this is a fact, I'm not making this up, I want y'all to know, this is fact too, you can look this up.
True.
Not only because we all came from a black woman, but because of the impact that black women have so consistently throughout the world's history. So, and let me start off with asking you a question. How many black women do you have in your family or in your circle? Yeah.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
You see?
Yeah.
You feel me?
At least half. At least 50%.
Uh-huh. Most def. And where would you say, or how would you say that you've been impacted by black women through your upbringing, since you've been alive, honestly?
Well, love my dad, but my mom won the custody battle. So
Yeah.
I was always with her from my earliest ages. And even growing up, a lot of the family that I had around me were the older women in my life were the ones that were really nurturing my character and the personality of who I was, right? And I did have I had plenty of male influences in my life,
Yeah.
including my dad,
Most
right? But it was the black women in my life were the ones that really honed in on really being intentional with how I treated other people, how I approached other people, what are the ways that I considered other people in the world. And they have always helped to force me to reframe and reshape my awareness and my recognition of the world around me. I say one of the biggest influences, so I got into a private school back in Pittsburgh when I was in 5th grade. And one of the two students that brought me in, there was these two black kids, guy and this girl. So then by the time I joined the school, got into freshman year of high school, they were seniors. And they were some of the most pivotal people in my life in terms of black student activists, right? And I bring them up because I remember when they graduated and just after having this amazing year of learning so much and gathering so many, just bits and facts from them, one of the last things that the girl said to me, she said, "Protect your black women."
Wow.
And at the time, I didn't really know what it meant. Like, obviously, we were in a predominantly white institution, so I'm like, of course, I'm gonna stand for the other black students. But I didn't get the implications of what she was saying at the time. And it's like the older I get and the more I see and the more that I come to understand the interplay of black men and women, the more I see what she means of protect your black women. And that's just one example of a small reality that has continued to refold and reshape itself in my life.
Yeah. Protect your black women. Protect your black women. Wow. So, with that being said, and with that being something that stuck with you, why do you think that it is easier to say protect your black women than it seems to be to do so? Because based off of what we see in society, black women still are the most mistreated. Even though we have all these notions and all these hashtags about protect your black women or support black women, you know, all the hashtags, they're good, but we know that faith without works is dead. So these hashtags without actions are also dead. You know, that's just something to say, something to put on. So that being said, man, why do you think people say what they should do when it comes to treatment of black women more than they actually do?
I mean, it's very similar to why people say that they do things in terms of treatment to black people without actually, you know, going through with it. It's very easy to get the notoriety and the recognition for having some sort of awareness or you know, cognition of some faults, right?
Woke.
It is much, much more difficult to actually be held accountable for that thing, address it, and then in turn carry out several acts that are meant to revert the wrongdoing.
Yeah.
Or at least to implement some right doing, right? And a lot of times it's just for public persona, right? I attend Morehouse College. I love Morehouse College down. I love the people, I love the institution, I love the memories that I've created. But in terms of our relation and our placement in the AUC, we are very, very, very good at expressing our love. First of all, we barely bring up the women of Clark Atlanta. Barely that. Let alone Morris Brown.
Come on, AUC.
But we are very good at saying that we'll ride for our Spelman sisters or we'll ride for the women of the AUC. But we don't ever implement that mentality in basic fundamental acts, right? As an institution, it makes no reason why Spelmanites can't walk through Morehouse's campus at night and have to walk all the way around it through the city of Atlanta.
Wow.
When there are two institutions connected to Spelman that would give them much safer and much more immediate access to their campuses, where they wouldn't have to come across as many dangers outside of the limits of the university space.
Right.
It's small things like that, where it's like if we really were about what we said we were, we would be doing more things that were actually intentional and reflected that.
Yeah. That's real. So would you say, like, I like the example you brought up with Morehouse men saying, I'm gonna ride for my Spelman sisters, but then seem like they on hush-hush mode when it comes to Clark or Morris Brown or any other black woman. So would you say that riding for or supporting black women is based off of the specific black woman or black women or a group of black women that you choose to support rather than supporting black women as a whole? Because based off of what you said, I feel like that's what you're saying, and that's what it sounds like. And if that's the case, then there is some fault in our support. That's not true support. If you got cut in your left arm and your right arm, but I say, I'm about to support you because I'm about to stop the bleeding in your left arm, am I really supporting you?
Right.
Because you still bleeding out your right
arm. Right.
You feel me? So, brothers, community, family, we got to be mindful that when we choose to support specific groups of black women, that's a great thing. But you can't just support this specific group without being consistent with your support. You can't choose which day you want to be a supporter, which day you want to be an ally, and which day you just want to chill out and be on the Twitter feed or be on social media talking about what should be done. Because that's false. That's false because that's a lack of support. That's false because you're lying to yourself saying that you support black women when the reality is you support black women adjacent to you. That's what it is, man. And if you only supporting things adjacent to you, that means everything around you is, in your book, gonna be good. But in reality, we all know that unless everybody is free, we're not all free.
That's real.
Unless everybody is supported,
Yeah.
we're all not supported. Therefore, that freedom is still not obtained. That support is still not achieved. Man, so
God loves us unconditionally, and because God loves us, this is the way we act in the world. So I say all of that to ask you, what's your theology of preaching, and is there a central theological claim that shows up again and again in your preaching?
I wouldn't say that there is a single claim, but I would say that one of my deepest theological convictions is that God is at work in the world, and God does what God does through us. And so leaning into what does it mean to be agents of God in the world. I'm not thinking about a distant Jesus. I'm thinking about Emmanuel, God present with us.
Every day, thousands of kids start vaping. And I can't let this happen to my kid. Of course, it's awkward to talk to your kids about the dangers of vaping. Hey, bestie, how sketches, me? It's hard to get their attention. Ready? Go. Yes. Look at that. You didn't turn yours over. So if you want to talk to your kids about the dangers of vaping, you got to get it trending.
No, you're doing it wrong.
Let's go.
Can we talk?
Yeah, what's up?
Visit talkaboutvaping.org for tips on when and how to have the vape talk.
Oh, I don't know much R&B. I'm telling you that right now.
We at the part that I love, and y'all know what it is. It's called Church That Hook. We're going to give you a song that's not gospel, and we want you to take the hook of it or the piece that you know, and we want you to sing it to us how you would if you were at church. Boys to Men, End of the Road.
All right, I'm going to go back to my choir days. Although we come to the end of the road, still I can't let go. Say, it's a natural sopranos. I belong to you. You belong to me.
Yeah.
I'm gonna cool out a little bit because still got some questions for my boy. So personally, man, where do you feel like where do you feel like you notice how important the impact of black women was on your life? Where in your life? Or it can be a specific situation, scenario.
Okay. So in my life, black women, black queer people, and the specific intersection of black queer women have been the largest and most consistent support network I have ever experienced. Period, point blank, flat out. in terms of just genuine support of trying to help and manifest and genuinely believing in the potential of something better to come, something not yet seen, that support system has always been the most consistent. And again, I feel like this has to do with the ways that, and it's a difficult conversation to have because as Black men, we don't think of ourselves in a position of privilege, but as men, we're in a position of privilege.
Come on.
It has to be stated,
Let's talk about it.
So when you look at the fact that as a man, we are in a position of privilege and we often interact with people from that position of privilege. We commoditize people, right? We make it to where it's like, what can I get from you from this interaction?
Yep.
We're looking for a trade value versus just the innate value of you as a person and your existence is enough for me to stop, slow down, and value you in this moment. So because every interaction is now a business deal, there's no longer a socialization, right? You're no longer of a human value to me. I'm just trying to see what I need from you.
Yeah.
Which goes back to what you were saying earlier about how it's very easy for us to support women of a specific subset or specific type without actually supporting all women authentically.
Yeah.
We do it all the time.
We do.
Myself included.
We
do.
do
It all the time.
We do. It's fact, yeah.
So it's messy. It is, and it's not an easy thing to do. It is not necessarily a clean-cut, flip of the switch thing to do, but it's an important thing that has to be done.
Yeah.
And it's an intentional thing that has to be done.
Intentional.
And it's something that not even necessarily with the mindset of, oh, I'm going to do right, but you have to have the mindset of accepting the fact that you can be wrong.
Yeah.
And the more that you can accept the fact that you can be wrong and that there's something else that may know more than you or may be more experienced than you, you get so much more out of life because you're more willing to take in more information, more knowledge from an infinite amount of sources because you now recognize what you don't know.
Bro, a lot of times people just want to be listened to.
Yeah.
They just want you to listen to them. You don't have to agree.
And that's...
You don't have to agree. They just want you to listen. When you are able to put yourself in a space to actually listen to someone that may have an opposing opinion to yours, listen to someone that may have a different perspective, you do yourself justice and you do that person justice. You do them justice by helping them feel like they actually have the freedom to express themselves. And that can open doors for them when it comes to things mentally or things creatively. You do yourself justice because you actually put yourself in a space to possibly learn something. But a lot of times, brothers, that misogyny and pride gets in the way. So when a Black woman comes to you and tells you, hey, I don't appreciate how you were talking about my friend, or hey, you heard your homeboy talking about me like I was a piece of meat and you didn't say nothing. When we're checked on these things, a lot of time that pride gets in the way. So automatically we put up a guard. Whoa, what you mean? I'm just chilling. What you mean? Why you trying to come at me like this? When in reality, that's not even what you gotta do, my boy. You ain't even gotta react like that. Even if you are approached that way, you don't have to react. A lot of times, man, it's not the action that is noticed, but the reaction. You know, how you respond to a situation is what resonates or is what sticks with an individual. So when you respond in a combative mode, in a self-defense, I gotta protect my ego type of ordeal, brother, you gotta switch that up. That's all you gotta do, man. You gotta switch it up because if you don't switch it up, you are hindering yourself from learning. And when you hinder yourself from learning, you hinder yourself from possibilities. Man, look, if we as humans were more open to listening, do you know how far we would be? Can you imagine the things we could do together if we just listened to each other? But that's not the popular thing to do. The popular thing to do is have your say-so and have no regard of what anybody else has to say. Or have your say-so, keep having your say-so until you're right. And you want to be so right that you want the other person to just be quiet. And if that is our goal, we are in a stagnant and dangerous place. Because if we think we know so much that we can't learn anything, then we just limited ourselves. We literally did. You just limited your growth. You just limited the possibilities in your life because you're refusing to learn.
I would just like to say that establishing yourself as the supreme authority on anything is a white empirical value, okay? every other advanced society and civilization that has occurred outside of European history has an extensive history and reputation, stumbling over so many words, for trading knowledge, for sharing information, for sending scholars over to other countries to go learn things and come back and teach people.
Man.
Like, knowledge was always an exchange.
Come on.
So the idea of even being a first and foremost authority on anything is antithetical to what we try to do to outreach and network as people.
Bro.
So at the end of the day, we have to make a decision, right? There's this, oh gosh, I don't want to say the wrong, I think this is Hooks. She talks about dismantling the master's house with the master's tools. And that theology, that mindset is very real, right? Like, we are at a point right now where we're very much so operating within the confines of the master's system. And so when we decide that we genuinely want Black women to be free and thus for the system to be alleviated of itself, right, that might require us to do something that looks completely radical. That might require us to do something that doesn't look like somebody saying, this is the new right thing to do. Because every time that's happened, we can only get but so far. So at some point, we might have to make a decision. Like, maybe we just have to do something that's just so new and insane that we've never seen it before.
Everything is connected, bro. Everything is connected. If we don't learn from our history, we are destined to repeat it.
Right.
We literally are. So let's think about this. If Black women have consistently been the most mistreated, the most overlooked, the most disrespected, and Black people have continued to be oppressed, where do we get our freedom?
Guys, today we have a bone-in pork shoulder. And look, we're gonna be cooking that in our Instapot. So you guys got your Instapots ready? Let's cook.
Honey, what I think you need is a socket wrench.
I played JV basketball.
I'm sorry. I don't think it looks right.
This is good, and it's all good, baby.
Is it really all good?
If you love me enough to routinely test your handyman skills, not to mention the strength of your marriage, then of course you'll visit nhtsa.gov/the-right-seat to make sure I'm in the right car seat.
I'm gonna call my dad.
We are 4 friends in a book. The book for this month, No One Is Watching by Alyssa Cole.
It was actually 3 different things. What I enjoyed with gentrification and finding out, it kind of sparked things in my mind, like, is this really happening?
If a Whole Foods pops up in one of these neighborhoods, I'm like, okay, y'all have been gentrified. So that's the first thing I always think about.
Where do we get our freedom? From Black women. That's where we get it from.
Because we've been trying everywhere else.
That's where we get it from.
We trying everywhere else.
That's where we get it from. We have to. That's where we get it from, okay? Do something different with the history that we have. They've already been the most mistreated, the most disrespected. When we gonna change that around? When we gonna turn that around to being the most respected, the most looked up to, the most admired? Everything is literally connected. Everything is. A lot of times our freedom in situations come from the situation themselves. But we have to be able to look at that and recognize the situations that we come from or recognize the situation that we're currently in. When we try to look elsewhere, we end up in that same situation, in that same funk, in that same mess, because we're not learning from our experiences. We're not learning from our interactions. We're not learning from our history, because we're like, it's no way that our freedom can be found in the most oppressed people because they've been oppressed. There's no way that my answer to the question of how can I get out of this situation can be found in the situation itself. Yes, there is a way. Yes, there is. You have to look for it. We have to look for the way, though. We've looked everywhere else. Why not look at the root? Why not look at the origin? Why not look at the thing that is the most prevalent, yet the most overlooked?
And you know, honestly, I really think that has to do with just the fact of the lack of accountability or wanting to claim accountability, right? Because there are some things where it gets to a certain point where the only way to really right the wrong or to really correct what has been done is to actually recognize what was incorrect in the first place. And if the party's not willing to do that, then that creates a lot of tension and frustration, right? We as men, we love statistical outliers, right?
Yeah.
We love to say, you know, we'll hear people say, well, you know, men do this or men do that. Well, not me. Or well, you know, actually not because this time, right? And it's like doing things like that.
If it's
While
not
it may
you,
be true, it deviates from what the intent of the conversation is.
if it's not you, then it's not you. You don't have to point out the fact.
Right.
That's not me, though. Not all men, not me. Okay, but by saying it's not you, that means you feel offended in some way or form, because you don't have to say anything, especially if it doesn't apply to you. You don't have to speak out and say, not me. But you chose to. You chose to because you felt hurt. You felt hit. You felt attacked because something was said that is true for the majority of men or majority of whatever group that you're in. But because you felt some type of way, you felt like you had to say, yeah, that's not me though. Like you said, you're completely missing the point. Okay, that's not you. Anyway, let's continue and recognize what the problem is. Bro.
Until we stop pointing fingers and trying to diffuse the blame, it's always going to be a constant circle.
It
It's
is.
literally always going to be a constant
It's
circle.
always going to be a circle because, man, you know what? We can talk about, like we always talk about, society, oppression. Man, this world we live in is racist. Yes, it is. But are you looking to see how you're translating those racist acts to homophobia, to misogyny, to sexism, to colorism, to everything that is providing division in our community? Are you looking to see how you're becoming literally what you are calling wrong?
Because everybody else hate don't justify yours.
Come on.
It don't.
It don't. It don't. It really don't. And you know, man, I just saw this movie yesterday. I forget. What's it called? Everywhere. I think it's Everything, and All at Once. I think that's the name. But the movie is basically about what we're talking about, how everything is a cycle. Everything continues and continues until something is changed. Until something is changed. And in the movie, it was a mother, a daughter, and a husband. And now, I don't wanna spoil it. I don't know if y'all wanna see it, but let's just see. I'm just gonna tell you. I was about to spoil it, but I'm not gonna do it because it's a really good movie. Y'all should go see it.
Don't spoil it for the people, man.
I was about to say, I was
people,
about to, but I ain't gonna do it. But it's a really good movie. I'm just gonna say about how people want to be treated, about interactions. Okay? How people want to be treated. A lot of times, things happen or things are a cycle because somebody in that cycle, somebody in that circle feels like they're being mistreated. From that feeling comes an act. And from that act comes a reaction. And that continues to go round and round. But until that communication is had, until that time to see, okay, what's really going on? Like, why are you acting like this? Or why did you say that earlier? Until we have those one-on-one conversations, these cycles of mistreatment, oppression will continue and continue and continue until we learn how to fix it, until we learn how to recognize our faults, recognize the things that we can improve on, recognize that we do not know everything. We don't. I definitely don't know everything.
Don't. Far from it.
Man, my friends will tell you. My friends will tell you. If I don't know something, I'll be like, yeah, I don't know that, bro.
Whew.
I don't know it. I don't know. What's the point of me acting like I know something and prolonging what could be progress?
Right.
Because I chose to let my pride get in the way and be like, oh yeah, for sure.
Right.
When somebody asks me, do you need help in this? Oh, nah, bro, I'm good. And I'm stagnant. Come on now. Let's not be like that. If you need something, let it be known. If you feel some type of way, let it be known. If you genuinely want to be educated in why someone else feels how they feel, let it be known. Communicate. Don't just speak based off of your own assumption. Just don't, man. It doesn't.
You're not gonna get nothing out of it.
You're not
You're
gonna
not gonna get nothing out of it.
You're not gonna get anything out of it at all, man. Man, oh man. Goodness. Man, I feel like, honestly, bro, this conversation about treatment of black women isn't really had enough.
It's not.
It's really not.
Well, it is just not properly. It's just
not properly.
Folk just talking into a space.
Yeah. Exactly that. Exactly that. And everything else seems to always have the forefront. Everything else. Dang. I love my black men. Black men go crazy. Support your black men. What about the black woman that helped raise that black man? You know, what about the black women that literally were around that black man to give him the confidence to do the things that you're looking up to him for?
And ultimately, that's what I realized is that black women genuinely support. They genuinely support everybody.
Everybody.
And all they are looking for is just people to genuinely support them the same way. That's it. That's it. Just reciprocation is all they're looking for. It's so simple, but we overlook it so hard.
Yeah. Man.
I'm gonna learn today.
That's what Lauryn Hill said. It could all be so simple, but what? You rather make it hard, man. You know what? M, my boy, I appreciate you for joining me for this show, man. Listen, family. Just listen. Just listen in conversation. Communicate. That's all is needed. That's all that is needed. Family, once again, my name is Javian Lorenz Moore. I love y'all. I'm gonna see y'all again very, very soon. And this is No Cap. Y'all have a great rest of y'all week.